welcome to our last show that we do on Wednesday without it being a game week. Very exciting. Welcome to Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football. I am one of the hosts, Desmond. I am here with Mark Rogers, and my post-game partner, Dre, will be joining us shortly. Before we get started, please like and subscribe the video, share it out on social media. It helps grow the channel, and we are trending towards 5,000 subscribers here on the Michigan channel. And also make sure you subscribe to Mark's main channel as well as join his Discord, where you can be a part of college football chat 24/7, 365. So thanks so much for tuning in and joining us. Mark, how are we doing today?
I'm doing just fine, Des. You hesitated there and said college football chat. I've told people over and over that I love the NFL, and if I could clone myself, then we would have the voice of the NFL. We would have a series of networks with NFL teams, because I would love to do that. But just one of me, and we're doing our best with college football, but we would go the NFL route.
And I would say with your schedule, I'm not sure there's any blocks available outside of maybe 8 to 9 a.m. I think that might be the time that you're available. So
and that would not be watchable.
Oh yeah. So I mean, NFL is exciting, and it just has it's different than college football. I love the passion that college football has, and to me the tough part with the NFL is obviously there's no rankings, things like that, so you don't have the number one, number two team matchup. Like, we get it, there's undefeated teams, there's the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, things of that nature, but it's just, to me, it's just different having that 8 p.m. primetime game, Georgia versus Clemson. There's just something different about that than the NFL.
And when we have these big matchups, especially early in the season in college football, they're special because these teams don't get together on a regular basis. Whereas there's really I know AFC, NFC, obviously, but then they rotate the divisions in regards to what divisions play what division. But it's like you only have to wait 3 to 4 years to see two teams in the NFL play. Whereas Ohio State, Notre Dame, okay, haven't seen that game in a long time. Whatever the big matchup, Oregon, Georgia, I can't remember them ever playing. I looked it up because I did cut a video. They played one time in 1977. So you don't have that in the NFL either, where, okay, wow, all of a sudden we've got this really cool matchup of two teams we've never seen or rarely seen play.
Yeah. And then too, with NFL, you've got the playoffs, where even if you didn't play a team in the regular season, you'll probably end up playing them. So yeah, college football, it is very different, and I love both, but definitely love college football more. I just love the fanatics. Outside of the Dallas Cowboys fans, like I don't feel like there's many fanatics in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think you can relate to this as a guy who enjoys all sports. I know you're a big NBA guy as well, and other things, is that the college football season is so precious. Like, we talk forever for months and months and months, where, the NFL season extends another month roughly. And then if you're a baseball fan, if you're an NBA fan, shoot, you barely get into an off season, and it seems like they're turning around and getting ready for the next season. But the college football season, wow, it's short, it's quick. You gotta cherish it.
Yep. It's there's nothing like it. So it's very exciting, very exciting. And we have some folks who are calling for Dre. He will be here. He has assured me. I talked to him earlier today, which I talk to him all the time, but yeah, and also to let you guys know, I know there may be some newer viewers here, but to let you know, myself and Dre will be here next week after the Michigan game wraps up. So we usually go live pretty much with, a minute or two left in the game, and then we're usually hopping on for about an hour. So kind of just talking about the game, recap, we take your questions, and we just talk about how the Wolverines looked. So I believe they have a noon kickoff, Eastern Standard Time. So we'll be on 4-ish, let's call it, something in that time frame, depending on how much Michigan runs the ball, because that, as we know, is going to run the clock a little bit quicker. But yeah, so we'll be here around 4 o'clock next Saturday after the Michigan game wraps up.
And
So
certainly, you have my full blessing if we're looking at 55-3 or whatever the score with 12 minutes left in the game. Crank that thing up early. People can keep an eye on, okay, how's, the four-string wide receiver doing in the fourth quarter, and we'll talk. We'll
yeah.
talk about next week now, or with Michigan, we'll talk about 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, it's that, ideally you'd love to see, even if it is that, the backups, or you just love to see some gems in there where you say, okay, this guy can definitely contribute for us. A guy I think about is Andrew Anthony, who we really didn't see a lot of him until the Michigan State game, and it was just an absolute splash of, I mean, and maybe there's Michigan fans who are more plugged in and just saw that coming. I would wonder how you knew that information, but a guy like that who just comes on the scene and in a huge game plays extremely well, and now moving forward you've got a heck of a weapon. So ideally we'd like to find a couple of those guys in the at least something to talk about other than the Michigan big wins, which we are almost certainly guaranteed to see in the first couple weeks.
Yeah, a lot of Michigan fans are anticipating an undefeated record going into Columbus.
To me, I am one who agrees with that. I think Michigan is talented. I would imagine they're going to be favored in every game up until that point. And I know a lot is to be talked about with Iowa and Kinnick Stadium and all those things, and I think there is merit there. But you're the better team. Just go win the game. That's my thought on it. I feel like Michigan is at the point of making that transition from being consistently really good to now kind of turning the corner to, talking about one of the 5 or 6 elite teams. And to me, if you're trying to get there and make that transition, you had a heck of a season last year. Let's parlay that into, really turning into a team that, hey, week in and week out, we're here to take care of business. Doesn't matter where we play. Yes, I think Kinnick Stadium is a difficult environment to play in, but I think Michigan is much better than Iowa, and we'll have plenty of conversations with Corey, and that's what makes this thing fun. But I truly believe that. I don't believe that Iowa is a better team than Michigan, and even if you want to throw some potential mistakes in that game, I think Michigan is that much better than Iowa to overcome those mistakes as well. I mean, they're talented everywhere, and you've got in that main trigger spot of quarterback, you've got 2 guys, but nonetheless, you've got the talent, you've got the decision making there to where you should be better. So you always have to respect your opponent, but I think Michigan should go into Columbus undefeated.
Folks that can barely see me through like the haze here, just understand when you live in Ohio, you embrace the sun when it's here. And I just didn't anticipate that it was going to like shine in on me. So I'll get the curtains closed and the blinds closed here in a minute. But yeah, you bring up Corey, and I'll just let everyone know that starting next week, we will start to bring in opponents, guests, media guests from the opponents. And we understand that people want us to talk Michigan football, and we will. So, we will use really good judgment in regards to, we'll bring in our buddy Steve Helwig to talk some Colorado State, but we'll keep it limited. We don't need a 45-minute discussion we know on Colorado State. Steve, come in, give us the quick, okay, who's their quarterback, running back, who do we need to look out for? So you go into those games at least a little informed about Colorado State, what they bring to the table, how good they're supposed to be this year, who the playmakers are, because no, I won't quite make the prediction that one of these 3 games will be competitive for a while, but we do know across college football that there will be some pretty mediocre group of 5 teams that will shockingly give somebody a little bit of a scare. I'm not talking about like final 20 seconds of the game, but I mean like into the third quarter, 24-20 kind of deal. So again, I don't think these group of 5 teams are at the level that they're Michigan's not facing Houston or Air Force or somebody capable here. They're playing some pretty low run group of 5 teams. So again, well, and then when it becomes a bigger game, like a situation with Corey, Iowa, the Penn State game, those games, we'll really break it down and have those conversations. So we hope to bring that to you each week during the season.
Absolutely. And the moment that you have all been waiting for, our man Dre is here. Dre, how's it going, my friend?
Going well, going well. Hello, gentlemen. Hello, everyone that's tuning in.
I see you
Dre, I
got, looks
have
like you
to
get your
admit,
blue on.
yeah,
I
got the
do, I
blue
do.
on.
I
Very
love
nice,
my short
looking good.
sleeve summer Michigan stuff is being washed or lost around the house somewhere, so I gotta find it. So I'm rocking the Michigan hoodie. But yeah,
Dre,
glad
I
to
have
be.
to admit, when Des made a comment, like there are some people. This before you joined just a second ago. There's some folks in the chat that are waiting on Dre. I was thinking, what did Dre say now?
I can't imagine.
Did he say
Oh,
something?
I wasn't here last week, so I can't imagine. I just hope that I don't disappoint. I'm glad. Maybe I'm doing something right or wrong,
The
or something
people
in
the people
between.
enjoy your energy. They enjoy your energy. The
That's good. I
passion. It's what makes Michigan. It's what makes college football. And we actually were just talking about that, myself and Mark, of just how it's different from the NFL and outside of the Dallas Cowboys fans. You just don't see a lot of fanatics in the NFL. Not nearly as many as college football. So
Raider. You in Oakland used to have like the diehard Raider
true.
fans that would
The
dress
black
up in
hole,
the
I think
yeah.
they.
So I
Yeah.
mean, they're still out there, but like you said, it's not nearly the same. And I think every fan base has one person who does like this. Even here, being a Lions fan, Detroit, there's one guy I think he wears like he's all lined out. He has like a Lions blue helmet. He paints his whole face blue. He goes all out. So, in NFL you may have one or two sycophants, but in college you may have what triple, quadruple that amount. So, it's definitely different.
Agreed. Agreed. So before, actually, right as you were hopping on, we were talking about. Mark had mentioned some Michigan fans think that Michigan will be undefeated rolling into Columbus, and I was saying that I think Michigan is at that point where they have been pretty good consistently, and now I think they are at the point where they can turn the corner to be one of the 5 or 6 elite teams in college football. And highlighting the Iowa game, I just feel like Michigan is the better team, and I understand that you're going into a difficult environment, but you're better than Iowa. And even one mistake, whether it be a fumble or a muff punt or an interception, I think Michigan is that much more talented than Iowa that they can overcome that and beat Iowa, and they should do that. I fully believe that. And to kind of repeat myself, but like we're gonna have conversations with Corey that week, and it'll be really good to talk about it. But I don't feel much different from the Big Ten championship than I do today when it comes to the Iowa versus Michigan game. I understand it's not a neutral site, but I don't feel any different.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I do believe that Corey will probably have, assuming that both Iowa and Michigan both get off to good starts. Corey probably have more legitimacy to his claim, which is probably that Iowa will win the game, than he did last year. I thought there was basically no shot that Iowa had to beat Michigan last year. Um, as of now, I give them an outside shot to beat Michigan, but I'm darn sure not picking them to beat Michigan. I definitely believe Michigan has more than enough to go in there and get the job done. But it's one of those places where even as a good team you go, and it could be kind of tricky to to win. Very very passionate fan base. Um, and I've seen Ohio State go down there. We saw Penn State struggle there. We've seen multiple teams go there and have issues. So It's definitely not a place that you want to take lightly. And by all means, it'll be a fantastic first test um, for this ball club. The only concern that I have initially before the season starts is due to the vanilla schedule beforehand. How prepared will our guys be to go into that game? Because sometimes you can be more talented than a team is, but if you're not clicking quite yet, you're not playing at the potential that you can, right? So maybe that game is a little bit closer because Michigan, who is probably, well, let's say, an A-minus team, due to rust and not really being tested, maybe they're playing at a B level, right? And say Iowa's a C plus B minus team. Well, now you talk about a little bit more of an even playing field in a closer game than it should be. So those are the factors that go into play, particularly when your schedule is so soft at the beginning. So that I do believe that could be a factor. And to be quite honest, I'm not sure if there's going to be anything that I can see in the first few games that's going to be like sway me to think, man, this Michigan team is great, or they're not, or they're good, or they're bad, or they're average, because I just don't know how to really judge those games, right? Because we know that Michigan's probably going to be at least a 27.5, 35-point favorite those first 3 weeks, each week, or pretty close to it. So, I mean, how do you really judge that in terms of how really good this program is? So that's going to be the challenge in terms of predicting how they will fare in Iowa.
Dre, if Michigan is a 27-point favorite the first 3 weeks of the season, I'm taking Michigan. I'm laying quite a bit of money, and I'm taking them to cover 3 straight at 27 against those 3 teams.
Yeah, hey man, I'm with you. I mean, I look, it's ridiculous how bad the schedule is, and the reason I'm kind of hard on it is because it's also from a fan standpoint. Fans, you deserve. You're going to pay your money to go to games. Of course, you don't want to see your team lose, but you also want to see somewhat of a competitive game, right? Just not too close, right? You don't want no heart-stopping moments, but you do want to at least see a quality opponent across from you. And those first 3 weeks, man, it's just not there, unfortunately. So it's going to be a challenge for, I think, Des and I to, when we come on these air raids every post game on Saturdays, to really kind of give a accurate analysis of how good this team really is, because they haven't been tested. And I can already see it coming now. There will be a certain segment of our fans here on this channel that like what we say, and then there will be some that want us to say more positive things. And it won't be that we're being negative. I guarantee you, never. There's no way that they can go into these games and there's something to be negative about. No way. However, we also won't. I can pretty much guarantee you, knowing how I am and how he is, we're probably not going to be, throwing parades after each of those games, because, to be quite frank with you, that it's a watered down scrimmage, and that sounds kind of disrespectful to the opponent, but it's just the reality of the situation. I just put it this way: I look forward to the week they play Iowa, because it'll be the first time that I'll be able to kind of really get a good bead on how good this team is.
Is that why you're looking forward to it?
Absolutely.
Is that the reason? Okay.
Oh no!
No, you want to get Corey on this stream.
Of course I do. Of course I do.
You want to give him the business and the blues. That's what you want to do.
Of course I do.
That's
but you know what? Look, but the reason why Corey would never the problem, and I'll say this to him again. The problem is that, for one, we all know he's the guy who has his I's dotted and T's crossed. I think he does a fantastic job, but it's because I think he is good that I was so surprised at the crap he was trying to throw on the wall to see if it's stuck. And it's like, no, I can never let you get away with that, because you should know better. Some people that you think don't. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
I got to agree with Dre on that one. And Corey, I've said it to you face to face, so I'm not talking behind Corey's back. He is buttoned up, man. He does a fantastic job. He knows his stuff. He knows his team, studies the other team. When we had him on here to say, oh, you're picking Iowa to win this game, pull off the upset. How are they going to do it? Why? It was kind of like, I just got a feeling they're going to do it. Just got
Yeah,
a feeling.
that's not
And it was well, if they get an interception or if they return a punt
block a punt.
for a touchdown or if Hassan
What?
Haskin fumbles, and I'm like, wait a minute. So you're telling me things that basically never happen. Cade rarely throws interceptions. Hassan Haskin literally never fumbles, and you never get, in Michigan's special teams has been really good. Like,
One of the best in the
you're
country.
telling me all three of those or multiple are going to happen in one game? That is a tough sell. That's a tough sell.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I had
That's
fun
why we
with him
can't
the
let him
other
get away
night.
with it.
I'm sorry. I had fun with him the other night because he was kind of explaining away 42-3, saying it wasn't really that bad. Da, 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 da. And I said,
Oh no, it is.
okay,
You can't.
okay, Corey. If I get the game's such a rout in the fourth quarter that you can't even really keep the scores after that don't even matter on either side. Like, they don't even matter. But and he was explaining it away 42-3, and I said, Corey, even if it was like you want to explain two of those touchdowns away, it's 28-3. It's
Yeah. Once you're down 21, or once you're down 21, it's pretty much you've been beat pretty soundly. So anything after that is just gravy. But no,
And I will stand on the point that I sent you a text after Michigan scored their first touchdown. It was the first score of the
I
game,
still
if I'm
think that
not
was too
mistaken.
early, but whatever.
Well, no, but that's how confident I am now. Because I don't really know how to work all the data on my phone, I have to have the text messages just gradually delete, or otherwise I would have a snapshot of texting you as soon as Michigan scored that first touchdown, because that's how confident I was. Like, Iowa's not scoring. They are not scoring more than 7 points in this game. There's no way. So I stand by that. But sorry to interrupt, Trey. What were you going to say?
No, look, you did send that after the first score. I thought it was way too early. And look, it's not like I expected Michigan to lose. I knew they would win, but I was like, well, no, I think Iowa will be a little bit more competitive, and they try. I just think offensively, they were so inept that it never gave them a chance. And that's going to be the question for when Michigan matches up with them again this year. I don't even need to see any games. I know Michigan's offense is way better than Iowa's, way better in terms of scheme, in terms of talent. So I can already tell you initially, I don't know how Iowa's going to be able to score with a team like Michigan. Michigan should have a top 7 scoring offense in the country. I believe that. You have the weapons everywhere, outside, inside. You have really good offensive line play. Your quarterback play, no matter who is playing, at the bare minimum, will be solid. It won't be average. It won't be bad average. It'll be solid to good. Now, rather if it's dynamic, it's the question. That's the only question about the quarterback position that I have. Will it be dynamic? But I know it will be solid to good, right? So, yeah, this offense should score a lot of points. And defensively, I have enough respect for the players that they still have left over, that they'll find a way, even if they regress a little bit, to still be, adequate enough. Adequate, I'll say that. They're not going to be bad. I can't see this secondary, even without Daxton Hill, being like MSU's secondary defense last year. That sounds like a shot, but like I'm just trying to, like, they 14 that won 10 games last year. Sparty was really their secondary was really, really bad. So I told Des this, I think we were on a phone call, for Michigan to have a repeat of success they had last year. Defensively, all they have to do is be adequate and solid, and play penalty-free football as much as possible, and tackle and do the fundamental things. And if their offense is able to supplement that slight regression on defense, they'll be just fine. And that's my prediction for the season to have to go the right way this year. That's how I see it playing out.
I got one quick comment, then I'm going to scoot out. You guys take it from here. But I thought Des made a nice point about going to Kinnick. And this is pretty sad that we're previewing week 5. But anyway, I think the Maryland game might be a little bit tricky the week before. But anyway,
Okay.
I do have my prediction video on this channel, and I ranked the difficulty of all the games. I put Maryland at 6, Iowa at 3. Regardless, the point that Des made was, okay, we know Kinnick Stadium's a difficult place to play. Clemson, Death Valley, LSU, Death Valley. There are certain places, whiteout at Penn State. Yeah, we know that it's a factor. Iowa's a better team at home versus on the road. All you have to do is look at the records. It is a factor. But once you kick the game off, yes, the crowd's loud, but you play on a 100-yard field and you got guys. There's nothing different about what's going on between those white lines, regardless of whether you're playing in Iowa, California, wherever you're playing. It's the same deal. And if Michigan's going to be an elite team program, then you go in there and you take care of business. And yeah, you may be able to be in a situation where an inferior team hangs in a little bit longer because they're scrappy, because they're buttoned up, their fundamentals are good, really sound team, good coaching, and they've got this crazy home field advantage. But you take care of business and you get the job done. And I think about Alabama going to Texas this year, and that's a situation where you would think Alabama's going into a hostile environment, as long as Texas doesn't trip up their first game, which they won't. That Texas crowd has been looking forward to this game forever. Number 1 team goes in there.
Quinn Ewers.
I got so much. What's that?
Said Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see if he can play. But my angle is that this is one team, Alabama, and one program where I almost think that it's better, or I'll flip it around, worse for Texas being at home, where Saban will drill it into those players' heads. This crowd is against you. This is a hostile place. We're going to go in there and make a statement, send a message. And Bama would almost be more comfortable at home, like, we'll win this game. They're good, but we're better. We'll win the game. We're comfortable. We're at home, where the raucous crowd and the environment may actually piss them off and be worse for Texas. And that's
Possibly.
where Michigan needs to get to, that kind of deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even look, we've seen Ohio State struggle in a situation like that. Like I thought you guys' first game at Minnesota last year was shaky. It was very shaky, and I can't remember the Minnesota running back's name. He got hurt in that
Mo
game.
Ibrahim.
He was tearing you guys to shreds, and I thought when he went out, that really changed the aspect of the game. So. It's you gotta be careful, especially early in the season, with going on road games, and if your guys are not, even you are the better team on paper, not totally locked in and focused. But no, I agree with Mark there. I do think Alabama will be well prepared to go into playing at Texas. There's a lot of hype at Texas right now. Quinn Ewers it seems to be the golden boy down there, and he has won a starting job. They got the commitment also from Arch Manning, correct? So, they seem to have a lot of momentum going on down there, and that's a perfect scenario for Alabama, who's really upset from the way last year ended, to come out there and come to the season and trying to make a statement.
Yeah, they just need to take care of business. I'm just not hopping on the you can't win in Kinnick bandwagon. Not happening.
Who said that, Des? No one said you can't win in Kinnick. We said that it's tough. It's not necessarily an easy place to go play. Just because let's just give respect to where you go. Like, going to play at Kinnick is different than going to play at whatever stadium University of Illinois plays at. Okay, I'm just saying.
See, to me, the difference is it's whether you're playing a good team or not. To me, it doesn't have, like, okay, if you play Rutgers in Kinnick Stadium, it's not going to be difficult because Rutgers is not a good team. You're better than Rutgers. And I think you're better than Iowa, which is why I feel that way about the game this year, and that's why I felt that way about the Big Ten Championship. You're just a better team. So don't mess around. Go in there and take care of business. So that's my thought on it. So Also, there's a couple comments on the schedule that obviously Michigan doesn't have a gauntlet of a schedule, but my question to you would be, would you rather have an easy schedule if that means you're going to trend 11-0 into Ohio State, or would you rather have a really difficult out of conference schedule, potentially have a loss to now where that kind of throw things off a little bit? To me, like, the cupcake schedule is fine as long as you take advantage of it. Like, that's the key. Like, the schedule for Michigan is that you have the schedule is laid out for success, because even your tough Penn State and Michigan State back-to-back games, you have a bye week in between there. So there's a lot that works in Michigan's favor. So just, I'd say just take it and run with it. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, like it is what it is now. I mean, like I think the best thing you can do is just focus week to week. Try to get better week to week. Treat these games serious, and make sure that you get out to the right habits, right? So even though you're better than the guy across from you, making sure that you're being fundamentally sound, that you're executing the plays to where they need to be executed. And it's on the coach staff also to make sure that they're keeping the kids, they're holding the kids to that standard. I was just watching America's Game earlier today. It was about the 2003 Patriots, and it was a speech that Bill Belichick was giving to the team after a really good win. And he said, good job, but we did this, and this wrong. We need to use this, go back and watch the tape, find out what we did wrong, fix it, and continue to move forward. We had a good day today, but we got a lot that we can still get better at. And that's a coach holding his team accountable and making sure that no matter the result, win or lose, that there are definitely ways that we can get better. I don't care if we win by 50. There are definitely things that we can get better, that we can improve on. And that's what I want to see from this team week to week, making sure they're finding ways to get better. So that way, when they're tough, their schedule does get a little bit tougher. They're as prepared as they possibly can be, and that's all you can ask for, And I will continue to say this as and this is the recipe that the team had last year that paid huge dividends. Is that as long as you're able to not hurt yourself, right? With penalties, with being out of position, with not executing, not knowing where to be, not, stuff like that, you give yourself a really good chance to win week to week. So those are the right habits that I want to see them do.
Yeah, and we've talked about it on the channel before. There's more games that are lost than there are games that are won. And that's one thing that for Michigan, especially last year, has been something they've done a really good job of. They haven't had a lot of games where they're mistake prone, turning the ball over, making the big mistakes. So they've done a really good job of that, and I would expect that to continue. This year, I think they have a good leadership group. I think last year's leadership group was just special, when you talk about Aiden. But I think that Michigan will do a good job of not beating themselves. Like you're going to have to beat them. It's not going to be something where they're making mistakes and turning the ball over and beating themselves. So I have the utmost confidence there.
Yeah.
So wanted to talk about the big recruit. So we haven't had a show since Iabi Anoma has committed to Michigan. Defensive end. I think he originally committed to Alabama right out of college and went somewhere else. I could not remember. I want to say Cincinnati, but I don't think that's correct. But nonetheless, 5-star kid, plays defensive end, incredible pass rush. And Mark actually had an interview with him, I believe, in couple years ago. And I mean, he seems like a really good kid. He's really new to football. I think his junior year in high school was his first year playing, and that year after his junior season, he was ranked the number 8 player in the country, which is wild after one season of football. I saw some highlights and things like that. The kid is talented. It didn't work out at Alabama for whatever reason. He's made a move, and he's here at Michigan. So what are your thoughts? Any expectations? Like, what are your feelings on it?
No expectations, but I do have optimism because I do believe this coaching staff does a really good job with training their defensive line and teaching guys good technique and how to get the most out of their athletic ability. So, if this kid has some untapped potential, I think it's a decent shot that this coaching staff can get it out. Now, granted, he was at Alabama, and they do I think it's well established. They do a pretty good job with getting untapped potential out of their guys as well. So, but it's always good to get kids with low risk, high upside, into your program. So, and also look. We had to replace 2 first-round pass rushers. One guy wasn't taken in the first round, but that's only due to injury. And so, that's not easy to do. And so if he can bring anything and get into the rotation, he may not be a starter, but can he get into the rotation at defensive end and maybe be a pass rush specialist? That'll be great because you're going to need it at certain points in the season.
Yeah, and the benefit, so there's a couple things trending well for this is number one, his position. I mean, he doesn't play a linebacker spot or a defensive back where there's going to be, 10 or 15 different things that he potentially could do. I mean, that playing defensive end, that is as close to a plug and play position as you could get because you can line him up out there and just say, listen, go get. I mean, even if you want to say, like you mentioned, just a pass rush specialist, third and medium, third and long, just go get the quarterback. We don't want you worrying about reading anything. Just go get the quarterback. And I think he's talented enough to do that. And on top of it, with the way that the schedule plays out, you're going to have 3 weeks bare minimum to really get him acclimated. I mean, this is a bit of a late transfer as far as the timing of it. I mean, you're in camp, but this is as good as a situation as it could possibly be because there's going to be zero pressure on him. It's just come on in, we'll get you coached up. But I mean, I would be playing him at least 20, 30 snaps a game these first 3 weeks, like until you kind of figure out exactly what you have. I mean, let's get him acclimated. Let's get him used to playing in this.
I can't say that. You got to earn that, Des. If you've had kids who waited their turn and put in the work and that produced on the practice field. I'm not going to not give them the repetitions that they deserve. Just to see what I have in this kid, that's what.
Well, I didn't say I'm gonna just bench a guy, but
okay.
You tell me there's no way he can get 20 snaps in you know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, especially when the game gets out of hand, for sure, he'll naturally probably get that. And also a good thing is, I definitely.
And also too, I mean, come on, man, this is big boy football. I don't have time for feelings and all that stuff. Like,
no, I'm not
let's
saying
go. The best guy is gonna play.
Like, oh, you just waited your turn. No, I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying, like, hey.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
I just want that to be clear. Ain't no feelings here. This is all about winning.
Hey, man,
trending towards 11-0 and going into Columbus and taking care of business. That's what this season's about. And you never know. I mean, a kid like this could be the difference in, you know what I mean, in whatever. Columbus being a 2-point loss to being a 7-point win. You just never know. It, especially with a kid who he's got talent. Like I said, I saw some clips of him in high school, but you don't get rated a 5-star for no reason. Like, it's the potential that you have. And if Jim Harbaugh and that coaching staff can realize it, I mean, there's no reason he can't help supplement some of those sacks that went to the NFL this past season.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that he has to earn that. If he's earned that in practice, then I have no problem with it. I just didn't. I guess the way I heard you saying it was, look, you got him in here, throw him out there 20, 30 snaps just to see what you got. That's the way I was hearing it. As opposed to if he's earned the right to be out there, compared to his, his teammates, then yeah, by all means. So that's fine with me. I just want to make sure he's earning it. That's all. And kids are playing based on the merit they earn through doing the right things in practice and earning the trust of the coaching staff and stuff like that. Um, that's it. But and like I said again, if he's a kid that we can get, good. Doesn't have to be great. Just like I said, just be in the rotation, be a guy who can go in there. Exactly. Let's Toast Media said he's depth. If he shines, that's exactly what I said. It's low risk, right? And someone said, well, it's not low risk because he's had stuff off the field. Low risk in terms of even if that happens again, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, kid, you kicked off our team. It doesn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna hurt like it. It just didn't work out. So there's no risk to our team. But if he does provide anything, it's a positive. So that's just how it is.
And to me, there's it's still low risk because it's not as if Michigan is gonna get some bad rap about it. It's gonna be, listen, we saw this young man. He had potential. He had some issues at his last stops. That's fine. We're willing to give him a second chance. We're trying to help him get on the right track. And that's it. He unfortunately things didn't work out, and boom, you're good to go. Like this isn't it's fine. It's low risk, like you said, and potentially high reward. Like I said, if this young man is here for 2-3 seasons and is racking up 25, 30 sacks in a career, I mean, yeah, you're in really good shape. So it's as I mentioned, I think he's got some potential and can definitely help supplement, like I said, some of those sacks that Aiden and Ajabo took with them. So you just never know, man. But get the opportunity to get a 5-star is something that in most cases you shouldn't pass up, and Jim Harbaugh didn't do that. So that is pretty solid.
And let's say it works out for them. Let's say he gets here, he earns playing time, and he's able to produce on the field. Well, that's another feather in the cap that you can use for additional kids in the transfer portal, and that's the positive side of like this new era of college football, where kids, highly talented kids, hit the transfer portal every year, and now it's a new way that you can get kids on the field right away that are highly talented and experienced, or not experienced, but just at least highly talented, that you plug in right away. You don't have to stash them for a year, and and if you're a team like Michigan, in which you've lost some guys in the NFL, this is case in point could be another way or an example where it works out, where you're able to get another highly talented kid that's ready to play. So there's definitely a lot of positives that can come out of this going well for Michigan.
Yeah. And I think overall it's a good move. Like I believe Let's Toast Media said that 5-star guys like this don't land in Michigan's lap, and I would agree with that at the defensive end spot. Now, with saying that, they've still done a terrific job of getting edge rushers, those guys developed and performing at a really high level. But I would agree with that point that it hasn't been just a revolving door of 5-star defensive ends that are rolling to Ann Arbor. So like I said, low risk. If the guy can play, he can play. And I think it's a really good move. And like I said, playing a wide receiver or running back, those positions of safety, like it's difficult because you have a lot of different scenarios that you have to be ready for. Whereas at a defensive end, I mean, that can be a very, very seamless plug and play position. So I think it's a good move overall.
Yeah. Yep. And now that we're so close to the season, the good thing is a lot of question marks that we have about the team. You can start to try to see if you can answer them. one of the biggest ones I have is about the linebacking core. Like who's going to really take that next step at linebacker, and be that guy for us. I think every year for a while we've had, guys like Devin Bush. Then guys like, we had guys like James Ross and Devin Bush, and then his brother Josh Ross, right? Who's going to be that next guy to step up and be like the captain of the linebacking core? Those are questions that I have, right? Who's going to be the next guy on the defensive lines? Who's going to step up and be that guy? But especially like at the linebacking core, I'm really interested to see who's going to step up. And it's funny. What's that kid name? Starts with an M. He left last year. I think he actually went to NFL. What's that kid?
That kid and M. That's all you gave me. Did he play defense, offense?
I'll have to come. I'll bring it
anything?
up next. Never mind. Forget it. No, not Mullins. He was a linebacker.
Was he a Michigan player?
Yeah. You know what, guy? It's not even worth going into it. I'll bring it up next week because I'm actually curious what happened to him. He's one of those kids where he went to NFL and it's like, you're not ready, kid. And I don't think he even has a job right now. But anyway. But yeah, no, it's exciting, man. I want to see if DJ Turner looks like a second, first
physical
round pick.
Freak.
Yeah, that's exciting,
he was on the list as well. I believe he was top. I think he was 17. We read that off a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, man.
And then you got the number one freak on the list of Mozzie Smith. So
I want to see that. I want to see if he can put that all together on the field. Because if they can, no, Chris Hinton was a defensive lineman guy. I'm thinking about as a linebacker, but he's another example of a kid who wasn't ready to go to the league. But I always find it so interesting that I always wonder what is the advice that some of these kids get. Like, hey, yeah, you're ready, son, go to the league. Like, because if you're going because you don't like where you're at, then now you're better off just transferring, trying to find a better situation. Other than that, why go to NFL without maximizing your McGrone? Yes, Blankman. That's it, McGrone. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. I was wondering what happened to that kid. He was a kid I thought had a bright future. He's on the Patriots. Oh, interesting. He's a kid I thought had a bright future here. He never quite put it all together. But good for him. He has a job. He's playing somewhere, and that's good. But anyway, I lost my train of thought.
I think with the guys who typically leave early and shouldn't, I think with all of these guys, it's ego, and for some guys it's really big. For other guys, it's not. But that's what a lot of it ends up. Now, I don't know McGrone's specific situation, but just kind of your example that you had mentioned of why do guys who aren't getting a first day grade or top 3 rounds grade, why are those guys going to the NFL? I think guys think that they are better than what they think they are, and just have that ego of, oh man, I could play, I just need a shot. And it's like, well, a 6th and 7th round draft pick doesn't get as long of a leash as a first round draft pick. You know what I mean? Or that big free agent. Like, case in point, the Detroit Lions, we gave Trey Flowers this huge deal years ago. He was awful. The whole time he was here, he was awful. But guess what? We kept rolling him out there because we gave him this big free agent contract. And that's, similar to a first round draft pick. Same thing.
I'm sure at the Tees Tabor's first practice, they knew that they made a giant mistake.
And he still was on the team for what, 2 years?
He saw the field. He barely saw the field, but he saw the field because they had to throw him out there. Because if they didn't, you'll get questions. Say, why is your second round pick not playing? That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I always find that interesting. I don't know. I understand. Once your eligibility is up, of course, that's the last chance to keep playing the game. But you got another year or 2 years off of eligibility. Kid. And then also for some kids who is interesting, who probably are ready to go to NFL, but they can't because of the eligibility rule. Like Will Anderson would have been a top 3 pick last year, but he had to come back. It's similar to the Davion Clowney thing, right?
Zeke Elliott.
Zeke Elliott,
had that
like,
year. Remember not Marcus, Michael Crabtree. After his freshman year, people are like, this guy can go to the NFL.
they said about Sammy Watkins too at Clemson
Yep.
after his freshman year.
Yep,
Like
sure
it's interesting. I know the NFL would probably never change it, but it is interesting when you kind of look at it where like some kids leave when they shouldn't leave, and that some kids probably should go but they can't. But
I think what would end up happening is it would end up hurting the college kids themselves, because they all think that they can play after their freshman year. So there would be guys who don't even, aren't even on the field for Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, that declare for the draft. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to go to the combine. I'll crush it there and I'll be good to go. And they sit in these interview rooms with GMs looking at them like, so why didn't you play at Michigan? And then what are you going to say to that? Like there's nothing you could say, right? Like you're going to say, well, the coaches didn't give me a shot. Well, that kind of sounds like you're not taking ownership of what you should have done. What did you do that you could control? And why weren't you on the field? Like there's not a great reason for that. And even if you just say, well, I didn't grasp the offense as quick as I thought I would have.
How would you grab ours?
Well,
How'd you grasp ours?
Bingo.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the problem, But
Dude,
but
you
but
heard
the
a play
but the
call in
unfortunate part
NFL?
is I've already declared, I'm already sitting in this room. You know what I mean? I'm already here. There's no going back now. So I don't think football would ever change that, just because that'd be rough on the on the kids. Because think about it. Think about what you just said. Guys who leave early who shouldn't. Like, it happens every year. You have so many guys who are undrafted and all these different things. And this is why, because these guys get, friends and families and people in their ear of, maybe an agent or whatever the case, gassing them up of, oh man, I definitely think you'd be a third round pick. And it's like, well, the actual NFL, the feedback I got from the NFL, the league was, the last day draft pick, potentially undrafted. Right. So there's an agent trying to gas them up on one side and then the real date on the other. But some guys just don't understand it, don't grasp it. And they're like, nah, man, I'm tired of the college life. I want to go to the NFL and signing bonus, all this good stuff. And it's like, man, like the signing bonus
NIL helps though. Some of these kids now, some of these NIL deals, they don't have to rush.
True.
Like, hey, like, look, you, especially if you're a big time player, hey, you got some money here, work on your game, continue to, because there is no true minor leagues for football. It's really college to the NFL. So, especially you're a quarterback and you need a little bit more seasoning, you have a decent NIL deal, you're making some okay money, then, and you want situations where, your family, you need to help your family out. Well, now you can continue to work on your game and continue to progress forward. No, it's just, it's interesting. Have you ever heard of, I was thinking about grasping the offense. You ever heard a play call in the NFL?
Oh, it's unreal. I could
triple
never.
X-flank, quadruple to the left. It's like, what? It's like literally, I'm like, what?
No, it's unreal.
Their playbooks are like this thick.
Yes.
It's like, it's ridiculous. And it's one of those things where, you need to go through that time in college, because not only do you physically mature, but you mentally need to mature as well, as much as you can. So no, I know we kind of went on a tangent there, guys, but it got me thinking once we went down, previous players.
Here's one. Sorry, I had to look it up. I looked up Sean Payton's. The long story. I'll cut it out. But it's gunflex right, stack 394 dragon, smoke kill, turbo sucker right.
What?
No, thank you. No,
and you gotta be, mind you, you have to be in the huddle, and a quarterback. First of all, a quarterback, you gotta be able to say all that, and then you gotta be able to hear that and be like,
right.
Oh, okay.
And that's the thing too. So Dre, just try to recite. So I'm gonna say it, and then I want you to try to recite as much of it as you can. All right, here we go. Gunflex right, stack 394 dragon, smoke kill, turbo sucker right.
Gunflex right, something like that. That's all I love. Like, Sucker, right? Sucker, some. I don't know. That's all I like. That's like
It's
that's
unreal, man. It's unreal. That's what, thinking about like a rookie quarterback. Like, I mean, and the coach is literally right here in training camp. He's right next to you, gun flex
Yeah.
right, stack, and like gosh, what was it? It was Gruden, but he was yelling at some kid just nonstop, like because the kid's repeating it in the huddle, but he doesn't
Yeah.
have all of it. He's like gun
Right.
flex right, stack 394 turbo dragon smoke he's yelling at him just like, oh, it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
That's a lot of times you see, especially the quarterbacks, they're like looking at their wristband, gun flex right. Like,
If you have one,
Like, you have to
that's the
have
thing
one.
too. That's not even everybody. Like, it's
yeah.
some. I couldn't do it. And the nice part for like a wide receiver, like of all of that, like 394 dragon is all you need to really like. It's gun flex and 394 dragon. That's all a receiver needs to know. It's just the
Right.
formation and what I got to do.
Right,
All the rest
right.
of that stuff is protection and sight adjustment. Oh no. I don't have any of that. It's just I listen to my parts and I'm out of the huddle. See you later.
No, and that's always interesting when you. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it's a different level, man. There's so much goes into And another shout out to Aiden Hutchinson, man. The guy just seems to wasn't he had the number one ranking out of rookies in the preseason week 1, wasn't it? So he
I think so. Yeah.
by Pro Football Focus. Now that doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things, but he's all to a good start. It's good to see Michigan Wolverines doing well, doing big things.
How about this one? Bunch right tear / 37 week F kill Q8 solid Z speed smash. That's a little easier.
I know it's a
crazy.
pass. I know it's a pass.
Yikes. That's a nightmare, man. That
Dude,
is a nightmare.
and the thing is, like, you literally have to hear that crap and be like, and then, mind you, think about if you're on a road game, like, and it's loud, and that's when you're like, huh?
Right?
Like,
Mhm.
okay.
Well, and then think about this. You got the 10 other eyes just looking at you like this.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like you get the call, and then everybody's just looking like, all right, what's the
And
call?
then
What's
the game's
call?
going fast. Like, imagine, like, you're like you're in a 2-minute drill. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Like, that's-
man.
you got the hand on-
Did you say smoke? Dragon smoke?
Did you say Dragon Smoke?
The same play?
That's why guys are having delayed games.
Oh, yeah.
What?
And then you only get a certain amount of time. I think with 15 seconds left or 20 seconds left in the play clock, the headset cuts off. So you don't hear the offensive coordinator or whoever's talking. You don't hear him anymore.
Yeah.
So from 32 or 35, whatever the play clock is, you get about 10 to 15 seconds. And then you got nothing. You're just on your own trying to look over for signs and signals. And that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So
That's why guys have blown assignments, man. It's a lot, dude.
yeah,
It's a lot, man.
Because you missed, you're the quarterback and you missed of that whole play call that you missed the Q8 and now your tight end runs the wrong route. You throw an interception and everybody looks at the tight end like, oh man, you're an idiot. But he's like, I didn't get the call. He didn't say Q8 like that. It's just crazy how intricate everything is, especially at that level. But yeah, that's wild. But
before we leave, can you give us another one?
Let me see. Here's actually is an easy one. South right nickel 41 kill 374 wasp. That's the shortest one.
Is that a defensive call?
No, I don't think so.
Nickel. I heard nickel. Okay, say that again.
South right nickel 41 kill 374 wasp. Yeah, I mean nickel's a defensive package, but doesn't mean it's not a call for them.
Yeah.
Or you can do the old John Gruden Spider 2Y banana. He always talk about that. But
yeah, doing the diagram on the field. Also, look, I know Michigan fans hate him, but shout out to, I will say this. Urban Meyer does a fantastic. I loved him on the college football show for Fox. I thought he did a fantastic job. Huh?
Said I don't think he's there anymore.
Yes,
but
no, he got rehired there. You didn't see that?
Did he?
He returned.
No.
Guys, correct me on that. Or didn't I saw new Urban Meyer return back to Fox Sports? Didn't he? Let me check that out real quick.
That'd be interesting. That was quite the exit he had at old Jacksonville, but
Yeah, like
neither
2 days
neither
ago,
here nor
Urban
there.
Meyer returned to Fox. Returned to Fox.
Well, hey,
Look, man. Look, regardless of how you feel about him as a coach, yeah, he is back. I thought he did a fantastic job on the show. I enjoyed his analysis, especially he's talking about the RPO offense, and even you said that.
yeah.
Now, granted, what you think about him is, is different than what he does. I mean, I think he's, really good analysis. But anyway, I don't want to get the weeds on that one. But that's all I got.
That is it for me as well. So next week we'll be here from, we'll see, 5 to 6 or 5:30 to 6:30, and then we will be here after the Michigan game, post game next week. So that'll be our first post game of the season. We'll actually have football to talk about, football that happened, and I'm very excited about that. Very excited. Are you going to watch any Week 0 games?
Yeah, I'll tune in and watch Nebraska in Northwestern, and then hopefully, even though, I just hope it's a competitive game. So, I'm definitely going to tune in a little bit. How can I not? It's been 7 months since we've seen football, so yeah, I'm definitely going to watch.
It's been way too long. I'm definitely tuning in. Must see TV, popcorn in hand, and an ice cold root beer. It's gonna be glorious. I'm excited.
An ice cold
And we'll be
root
golfing
beer?
Saturday morning.
And yes, we will be golfing Saturday morning, and we will not talk about potentially, unless I win, we would not be talking about how it went.
That's usually how that goes. Yeah.
Did you say root beer? Was that code for something else?
No, Trey, it wasn't.
Okay, yeah, sarcastic much. Just thought so. Anyway, sorry, sometimes it goes right over the ball head.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We got, I think, 67 on the line right now. We had about 85, I think, at our peak. So please, please, please like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And share it with your friends, because we are trying to, we're close to 5K subscribers. I think we're like 4,750. So we're close to 5K, and we're trying to be the #1 team channel in the Mark Rogers network. We got to do that. We got to do that.
We beat Ohio
we can
State.
do
It's
that.
been, what was it, the little troll thing that some people were doing? Like, it's been 300 X days since Ohio State's beat Michigan.
Yeah.
It's been whatever amount of days since Ohio State has beat us. There's nowhere in the world they should have more subscribers than we do. We got to pick it up. So tell your friends, tell your family to tune in. And don't just tune in, to subscribe. It happens quickly. It can happen easy. That didn't come out right. It's easy to do. Just do it. Because we love you and appreciate you.
That we do. That is it for us, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.